Taking this thing out of here for the first time in over a year, I think.
No, still not finished, but at least, well,
it's ready for paint, all right? The chassis is ready for paint.
There won't be no more welding on it. Just be
We're so Victor f***ing hopes anyways.
Yes.
This is the transmission catch can, this is the engine catch can right here. 411 works, baby!
Let's go right here. How's that looking?
It's good.
Yep, that's good. Good?
Yeah. Yep.
It should be on there.
We're gonna like back the truck and open up in here, right?
We're gonna go.
Slow down.
No, it's not. So.
What's up, guys? We're here at Victory Auto Designs where the Celica is being dropped off to have all the paint and chassis finish work done. So this one's gonna come out of here looking pristine. We've actually just met Pete and Dave, the owners of the company, a couple weeks ago from a mutual friend, and I can't believe they've been 20 minutes from my house and I've only just met these guys. We've kind of been circling in the same friend groups for a long time but never actually got to meet. So it's really cool that it's here and they took on the project, and I'm really excited to see the outcome.
I'm David Del Tordo, and this is Peter Bernard, and we're the owners of Victory Auto Designs.
I don't know, where should I start?
I'd say we opened roughly 4 years ago, right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, right in the middle of COVID. I was on a road trip, and Dave called me and said, we need to start a business. And I was like, yeah, fucking right. We did anyways.
Yeah, I was dead serious. I've been in the industry like almost 15 years, worked for a shop for a really long time, and I knew that I was coming up at a point where I needed to break out and do my own thing. And I knew Pete was in a similar situation. And at the time, you were kind of in between jobs. I had in my head, I knew I was like, it's time to start a business. I just called him and I was like, dude, we're starting a business. I think you thought I was joking. You thought I was just like, had one of those like,
yeah. It seemed like a half-cooked idea, and I was like, okay. And then like when I got back to the area, we like sat down and had dinner, and it was like, oh wait, this actually could work. I was working for a guy that previously owned this unit. He would always say to me like, you need to go out on your own if you want to like make it in this career. I said to him one day, I'm like, hey, like, do you want to sell the business? Do you want to have me take it over? And he was like, kind of laughed at me. We kind of came to some terms, and he realized that we were serious. So
like I said, I was in the industry for a really long time working at a performance shop, and I was kind of unhappy with where I was at. I always wanted to hone in on more of the restoration. I want to do both. I mean, I was doing performance work at the time that I definitely loved and I was passionate about, but Peter and I were always doing restoration stuff in the background, especially after hours a day on our own vehicles, and we were getting good at it, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. Dave and I were in the same circle of friends, and then he bought this Volvo 242 out of a junkyard, and it had no rocker panels, the bottoms of the quarter panels were missing. I had just started doing body work, and he was like, hey, you're the only person I know that knows anything about body work. Can you come up and start helping
bail me out, dude? Like, this thing's wasted.
The shop he worked at kind of let him have access to the facility after hours. After I got out of work at 5 o'clock, I'd go up there and we'd work till 12 or 1 in the morning.
2 in the
Yeah,
morning
like
sometimes,
all the time. Man, it'd be so cool if we were doing this someday, like for other people's cars, like custom. To be able to do it now is kind of like, it doesn't.
Pretty surreal. It's
yeah.
almost, yes. I guess you could say I pinch myself time, like, we're really doing this. You know, like Ryan's car, like, we're really doing this. Like, you almost kind of forget, like, how you got to this point, but when you look back to it, you're like, it makes total sense.
So-
and back then, we were just happy to get something done. But in the back of my mind, I was like, man, imagine if I had a paint booth. Imagine if I had a shop. Imagine if we could just do this every day. You know, I was at this cool shop at the time that I was passionate about, but it wasn't like exactly what I wanted to be doing. And I just knew with him, like, I have a certain skill set and he has a certain skill set. Like, I came up in the mechanical side of the industry and Pete came up in the bodywork, you know, collision, which moved into restoration. So we kind of had the two skill sets combined, and I was like, man, if we open this place and at least just try it, we'll be able to do it.
We've been really fortunate to get to know a lot of the people at Club Motorsport. Pretty quickly realized that we didn't have a problem handling larger tasks.
Yeah, it started out as like mild track prep, you know, a lot of newer Porsches and stuff like that. A lot of those members have a lot of like Caymans and GT4s, and we predominantly wanted to focus on 80s, 90s, and early 2000s cars, but we weren't unhappy doing this kind of work. We were establishing trust and showing that we can do it, and I always kind of did that at previous shops, like track prep work. So we definitely started there.
It's been a huge struggle getting this side noticed, but it has steadily year after year got some recognition. This year, it seems like it's actually starting to snowball. We're actually starting to book out, which is like phenomenal.
And doing the work we want to do.
Yeah,
you know,
doing
because
the
like
work we wanna
any
do
business
is
that
huge.
starts out, I'm sure most businesses can speak to this, is that you don't necessarily do exactly what you want to do.
We're super excited to be working with Ryan on the GT411. It's like exactly the type of work that we want to be focusing on. So to be involved in this project with everyone else that's involved with this project, especially guys like Victor and Randall, some of the best guys in this area.
So in the next coming weeks, we're gonna strip the car down, epoxy prime it, seam seal it, 2K prime it, block that primer, paint it, wet sand and buff it. So let's get it done the Victory Auto Designs way.
Okay, so far we have the quarter panels and engine bay prepped and in epoxy. So now we're gonna hand it off to Dave to get it on a rotisserie so we can do the floors.
There it is. Okay, so now that the car's on the rotisserie, we're gonna have Sorrel take over and get the floors and wheel wells ready for epoxy before she moves on to the roll bar.
Hey everybody. So the past few weeks, Ryan and Zach have been traveling. We've been super busy on the Celica. We got the interior all prepped for paint, which was scuffing down all the epoxy, sanding every nook and cranny, and making sure we had paint coverage everywhere. We blocked all the 2K primer on the quarter panels, seam sealed the whole chassis, and painted the exterior. Right now we're masking off the interior one more time so that we can do rally black on the parts of the roll bar that pertain to the driver's peripheral.
Holy shit, dude.
It's probably a little shinier than it needed to be.
Holy hell. This came out so freaking good. Do the black here. That's really cool. I didn't even think of that. It makes so much sense because when you're trying to look, it'll just absorb the light instead of bouncing in your face.
Yeah, it should help a lot.
Hey. Holy. Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah, this is above and beyond, guys. Seriously. Yeah. So bright. Wow. These sunglasses.
Is the white actually macro kind of okay?
Yeah.
So sick.
Oh. You see the dash of your computer in there?
Guys, I'm all the way on in the front.
That's good.
The casters are really close on the inside of the okay. You good over there?
I'm good here.
Okay.
Nice and slow.
All right, we're down at Victor's. He is stoked to see us. He's more stoked to see the car itself. Victory Auto did a phenomenal job on the chassis. It looks absolutely killer. Blew my expectations out of the water. Now it's time for final assembly, and then we're gonna schedule some time with Motec USA to come up here and John Reed to install the engine harness, the chassis harness, and get all the electronics packaged in. And by that time, we should be 100% wrapped up with everything that we need on this chassis to get it fired up on the dyno, start doing some burnouts.